Hello, and welcome to the Friday Night Craft and Chill. Now we're talking, same time toys. Shane, how you doing, man? Just kind of a sleepy night already for me. I've been doing earlier nights lately. We got Shane, we got Ed, Action Figs. Let me switch to live and see if our local Phantom Zone guy is here. No, nothing from Fat Red. Ugh. What are you guys up to tonight? I just on eBay sold one of these medieval table set things. This is just a bench. I gotta print off another bench in the table. Oh, that's right. This was my my old error bench. I won't sell them when they have little. Well, I'll sell it if it has a little mess up, but that bothers me too much. I don't even have an example of the dang thing. I've sold quite a few of those. Probably about, I don't know, not that many. 4 or 5 though since I put them up. Ian from Mudhorn Station, what's up? Largo, there you are. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I procrastinate a little bit on starting my stream sometimes, Largo, but sometimes it happens. There you go. Look at Ed throwing up my Etsy link. Thank you very much, Ed. So you guys have been here, but I'll just mention it real quick. On the Etsy, we've got some bits I've been doing. We got the windows, little transparent PLA windows. Those are pretty cool. We got some more designs coming soon. I don't have this one up yet, but this is just a frosted window, not the frosted red. We finally have the old Helidope version 2 crates. The Helidope guys are, I think it's Ted right now. They're kind of in limbo at the moment, working some stuff out, so I just decided to put them up for sale. So these are up on my Etsy right now. I got some new stuff I'm working on that's really cool. Ed's seen it. Trying to get a little bit fancier, a little bit more detailed, and I'm doing 1/12 again. But I'm not quite ready to show that yet because I've had some issues. Sammy 420X Wars, what's up, man? Here's something I was working on earlier today. It's simple, but I didn't know how to do it before in Fusion, and that is to get textures to show up on surfaces. So this is, you could just take an image and get it to map onto the surface and then extrude it out. Well, it's actually, it extrudes and subtracts, so it adds and subtracts from the image, but it really opens up quite a bit there, as you can imagine, with different stone textures and stuff you could do with the 3D printing. Fat Red Foo, what's going on, man? Ugh. I'm gonna need this caffeine. Let me get this thing. So you guys may or may not have seen on the shorts I've been doing, the Instagram reel. It's obviously, this is a very boxy looking ship. It's not very ship shape, but it's ship-shape enough. You got the, you know, the side rails, the door, the stairs here. And I think the banister really adds a lot into that. When that's on top, it gives it a lot more of a shippy feel. But yeah, I've been doing these on Instagram and Facebook Shorts. I will edit all those, well, not edit, but migrate all those shorts over to YouTube eventually. But right now, I'm actually in a program with Facebook, and I don't want to cross-post other platforms and maybe piss them off and then not want to pay me. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm not going to mess with it right now, so I'll wait till after. Really good. Shiver me timbers. This is just the first one. I'm quite sure after doing this, there's another one coming. And I don't know if you guys remember last week, Jay Gonzo said, oh, you should do, you know, the whole, you know, the helm for the ship. And I actually modeled the wheel, which is how I figured out how to do these banister things, because I didn't know how to use the revolve, the tool for making lathe-looking stuff. So everywhere I look on Facebook, there you are. Absolutely set. Oh, well, thank you, Shane. Yeah, I never did Facebook, honestly. I mean, I used it for personal stuff, but I never really, and I was in old toy groups, you know, I used to look at the ACBA stuff back in the day, and Diostructure, and those groups are still there. But when I moved over to Instagram and YouTube, that's where most of my attention went. So I did this earlier in the week, and this is a first attempt. I was super happy with this for a first attempt. Oh my goodness, Largo. So you can see it's got the little, this side looks pretty good. The back side that was on the bed is slightly more janky. But it's like one of those trade-offs. You know, I suppose if I were to build it, I could make it, you know, if you were taking a picture, you could just flip the thing around whichever side the picture was on. It's just part of 3D printing, right? And let me ask you guys, do you think that this needs to be painted, or do you think that color, that goes pretty good, I think. I think that goes pretty good. Fat Red, I see you, but I don't know if anyone else can. I didn't realize it wasn't painted. Awesome, Fat Red. I like it. Yeah, this is matte brown PLA. I love the matte color PLAs. That's what this, whoops. This is a matte gray also on here, on these bits. And it makes it harder to see the layer lines, and I just think it gives it a better look overall, because I mean, that's what this is too. This is matte brown. And you can see, you can't even see the layer lines on the camera probably, or barely. Oh, that's the other side, but that was on the bed. But yeah, the matte filament, because when you're seeing layer lines, they're still kind of there, don't get me wrong, but because it's not shiny, the light isn't picking up the edges, and you really can't tell. Helms were pretty rough, so a little weathering and print texture would be fine in a pick. Yeah, I think so too, Ed. On this side, and this is the better side, the roughness of it is really, it just looks like wood grain, honestly. It's totally plausible. On the other side where the supports were, it's a bit more jank, but not super terrible or anything. This texture that comes from the build plate is really not wood looking, but I might be able to get a smooth build plate that will work that out. Although these build plates work fantastic for adhesion. What's up? Hi, it's me. Oh, we got Eduardo in here. This feels like a reunion or something going on. Yes, I could, Fat Red. And I thought about it, splitting it in the middle. So, these are too thin. I'll never get the spokes to line up right if I do the back. But I could, I could print out a disc that covers the rim so it covers up the pattern. But to try and cover the back of these spokes, like to cut the spokes in half, that would be more trouble than it's worth, I think. Maybe if I fattened them up. But if I fatten them up, the supports might not tear out quite so much of this anyway. It might look better. Or I can just play with the support settings some more too, which is probably what I'd do. Alright, so I can do that, I can do that. I think we'll just start with painting the back of that ship. Bulkhead, or whatever you want to call it, since that has to be done. That's nice and simple. Oh, one more thing for show and tell. I didn't, this isn't finished, it's very preliminary, but making a little boat, a little dinghy. All kinds of problems with this. I had massive problems with this, but learning experience. The bow is kind of messed up, the geometry on it, but not terrible. But getting the sides to come up and go diagonal at the same time was not like doing other things that I've done. I can get it to do it, but I can't get any kind of texture to project on there. But I'm learning some stuff, so maybe. Let's paint the back side of that. Thank you, Alberto. Fat Red, I didn't put it in the water, but there's no reason why it wouldn't float. Now, would it float with a 6-inch action figure in it and be able to stay balanced? That would be much more difficult to tell without testing. Burnt umber, where's the burnt umber? Oh, here it is. Yeah, exactly, ropes and oars. Well, with the dinghy, there's a few things left. Let me see here. Let me pin, Ed, you put the comment in there and I didn't even pin it. So let me pin the Etsy link to my Etsy shop. Thank you to everyone that's been purchasing stuff there. I do greatly appreciate that. It's very, keeps me motivated to make more stuff. So, yes, I would, this is just like I said, preliminary. Once I got it worked out, I would put like oar locks here. Obviously, it needs benches printed yet for these supports, and I would want some kind of texture on the side. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, you know, like that is honestly enough for me to feel like we're getting somewhere. But it can't be blank like that. I'm just not cool with that. I mean, the bottom on there, just with those simple planks, look pretty good. I could paint it. This brown will lend itself really well to painting. The matte PLA paints really well too, I find. Take care, hi, it's me. Might be able to get texture on the outside. No, I can't get texture on the outside. It's one of the problems I'm having. Fat Red. Oh, did you print it upside down? That's not it. It's not the printing process. It's when you're... It's in the modeling, right? So, because this is a complex curved surface, it's not letting me draw on the surface. And so then I'm trying to project a text or a pre-drawn sketch that I do onto the surface, and because it's not flat or just a simple curve, it gets all screwy, and I don't know how to work around that yet, but I'm learning. I mean, you never think about it, but you know, just extruding straight up is not that big of a deal. Extruding straight up and out is a little more complicated. Extruding straight up and out and then having it curve around is stupidly mathematical in what the computer is trying to do to make it work. Can't you model it flat then curve it? I don't know how to do that. I don't think so. I think you have to make it, I mean, maybe, but you would, no, I don't think so. What you would do is my understanding is you would make the texture and then you would make the solid and then you would apply that to the body. Now, a big cheat for everything I'm doing, I'm trying to do everything in Fusion, is if I took the model out of Fusion and stuck it in Blender and turned it from a parametric, like a CAD model into a mesh model, then I can just take, you know, a Blender thing and just put lines in it and you can sculpt it. And I might go that way, but I'm not there yet. Trip D Outpost, what's up, Trip D? This needs a hole punched in it. Hard to grade micro, hi. Hello. I'll show one more thing. I don't have all this worked out yet, but you could see this little joint right here that I'm really quite happy with so far. And it has, let's see if I can get this to show right. It's got the transparency for the screen, so you can backlight that. Thank you. Yeah. This is part of something else I'm working on right now, but I'll get to where I'm doing... I think I'll get to where I'm doing similar bits with that type of thing in there. possibilities. Yeah. The transparent PLA is so cool. I mean, and really just using the different materials on the same model is, for me, is a game changer. I know other people have been doing some of that, although I really, not that many people do multicolor prints. It's growing, more and more people, but it is more expensive to do it. There's more waste, it takes more time. So a lot of people that do the 3D printing, they just kind of do one color for the most part still. But there's more multicolor. But that transparent PLA, awesome. The PET G you used to have to use for transparency was a pain in the butt because it required a different temperature than PLA, so you couldn't really print them together that well. You had to print separate parts and pieces, and I just never really liked the way the PET G looked when it printed. It always had like a harsh look to it. I can go ahead and texture this. Well, that's pretty close as far as inspirationally, Largo. The science officer's station on the OG Enterprise bridge. I mean, it's got the shade on it, and something about that I didn't know how to do before was everything I was doing, like these, just had everything's gray, right? And then I'm just taking it's basically like a paint bucket tool in the slicer and putting a thin coat of red, thin coat of black. And that's good for printing because the thinner the coat, the less times you have to change back and forth, unless you plan it out to all be the same. But that's another thing. But this, as you can see, these are like completely black. So it changed the material and went all the way up. I wasn't able to do that before, to have those different materials. But yeah, that's kind of what this is almost, Largo. Now, as far as making it specifically, I don't know if you've noticed, or some of you guys probably have, but I don't really like doing exact things from intellectual properties. Yeah, the transparent part is printed too, and it's not only printed, it's printed in one piece. Same exact piece. So I've seen people printing out like separate parts and then snapping them and putting them behind, and I'm sure someone's doing this too. I'm sure people are, but not that I noticed, but I'm sure they are. But yeah, it makes it super easy once you get the model worked out. It messed with me a lot. I did another one earlier today. Where the heck is it? I did another one earlier today and then lost it. Okay. I did this one earlier today, which has the screen. You can see it's the transparency. But I'm having problems with some other stuff here. I was trying to do keys and make light tunnels, but it didn't work. I don't know why. The model just decided that it wasn't going to work, but I'll figure that out. Fat Red, I mean, this is a pretty small bit. I feel like this is about 2 hours. I have to look at it again, but it's not quick for something this small. Largo, I'm working on it right now. I use Bamboo Lab printers. I have a Well, it's right there. A Bamboo Lab X1C, and I have a Bamboo Lab A1. Either of them would be capable of doing this. The A1 is their entry level, and it could still do this. If you have the AMS, you have to have the multicolor system for it. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of experimenting with the 3D printing, trying to learn more 3D modeling, and I think I'll finally have it figured out just in time for AI to be able to do it all better than a human can. So that's cool. But all good. So Largo, there is a slight difference between the pink and the blue foam. I mean, I would say for the most part, most purposes, they're the same. There's a slight difference in the give of it. I think the pink foam impresses a little bit deeper, and I feel like the blue foam was better at something too than the pink foam, but I can't remember what because I haven't used it in, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. But either one works fine. I prefer the pink one a little bit, but either one works fine. Actually, a little edge breaking here. There you go. What Ed said. So there's a slight difference, Largo, but when I say it's a slight difference, it's a pretty slight difference. Like, you could definitely make everything I'm making with the blue foam. Yeah, Lowe's is blue, Home Depot is pink. Or purple, whatever you want to call it. What's the blue like painting, Ed? Do you ever paint like, notice sometimes I'll just take pink foam and paint red right on it or paint brown right on it. I feel like the blue might be a little bit more overpowering on those. Or do you always base coat with like black first? Mom and pop shops. I mean, Largo, you can use white foam just fine. It just requires a different set of techniques. So you're not going to be able to do wire brush wood grain, but you can do bricks. You can cut everything in it. You got that really sharp knife. You can do rubble just by you can use a wire brush to scrape away. But the thing with white foam is you got to put coats on it. So once you get it shaped kind of the way you want it, you need to water down some white glue or take white glue and sand or whatever, mix it up and just slather it on there, and it'll make a hard shell on it. And then you can do whatever you want with it after that, paint it, flock it. Same with blue, unless it's light color paint, you can go right to it. Cool, cool. Okay, let's do a little on this one. TD3 Trooper Troy, what's up, my dudes? What's going on, Troy? Eduardo says the foam is very expensive here in Brazil. Yeah. I mean, unless it's being used a lot in your local market, it's going to be expensive. And it's a petroleum product, I'm sure. Yeah, people sell it online. You can buy it on Amazon in small, cut down sizes. But that's Amazon USA. I have no idea what's available on Amazon Brazil. I don't even know if there is an Amazon Brazil, but I'm assuming there is. They seem to have one for almost every country. Yeah, it's more expensive on Amazon than going to a Home Depot, but expensive is a relative word, right? I mean, it depends on what you're building. If you're building crates or something small, you can build dozens and dozens of them out of a little tiny piece of foam. It's really not that bad. If you're trying to do, lots of, or a larger diorama, it'll get expensive quicker. 4x8 1-inch, yep. I think the last one I bought was right at about $25 in Texas, Troy. Do you remember what yours was? 25's a lot. It used to be 10 bucks back in the day, but it is a, 8 foot by 4 foot sheet. So Mudhorn, best is a relative term because it depends on what scale you're working in, but for 1/12 I would say 1 inch is probably the most versatile and tends to be what I use for most things. But I love having 2-inch foam on hand. It allows me to cut blocks like this to make crates without having to paste things together. I can make tree trunks if I want to make chunkier rocks. And I also like having the 1/2 inch on hand because if I want to build stairs or anything thinner and not have to run to the hot wire table to thin it out, it's very nice to have that. Also, the hot wire table only has a throat of maybe 5 inches. So if you're trying to thin something bigger than that, you can't really do it. So yeah, having the option to just cut the sheet out where it's already 1/2 inch is nice. Anytime you try to build anything, and I'm sure most of you guys have observed this, all of you, varying thicknesses adds more interest to it. If you try to build something and like this is kind of flat, right? It's just 2 things, but if you built a whole scene and every wall and every object is this thickness, it's going to look kind of goofy. Like the table shouldn't be built out of the same thickness material as the wall. So if you don't have the ability to thin your own material, then having those different sizes on hand is really, really nice. It's really nice anyway. Oh, you bought the 2x2. Gotcha. Yeah, those are called project boards. I want to try experimenting with really absurd scales sometimes. Yes, I get that. Ever since I saw, when I was a kid, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and he built that mountain out of like mashed potatoes and stuff in the kitchen, I've always wanted to do that. Haven't yet. Who knows what the future holds? Four by 8 for $32. Wow. I thought 25 was expensive. I think it was 30 here, like maybe about 3 years ago when everything was going crazy. But it settled down to 25. I missed the $9 days, that's for sure. But up until maybe about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, you couldn't get the 2-inch down here. You could only get the 1-inch and the 1/2 inch occasionally. But now they pretty much always stock all 3, and that's nice. I think the 1-inch for 1/18 scale is fine for building floors and walls and stuff like that. It's fine. Will the 1/2 inch look a little bit more reasonable for the thickness of a wall? Yeah. But it's also more fragile. So like here you take a 1/18 inch dude and the wall is that thick. So if this is the interior wall on a building, it looks ridiculous. If it's the exterior wall of a concrete building, it looks fine. With 1/12, a little more passable for an interior wall, but still kind of thick, honestly. I wouldn't worry about it too much. The one thing that's really good about 1-inch also is it can fit the magnets I like to use, which you cannot do with the 1/2 inch. The 1/2 inch won't fit these average size ceramic magnets that you can find. which has stopped me from doing a lot of 1/18 stuff with the thinner foam. I have one here. I've been contemplating throwing this guy up on eBay, actually. So this is a handmade 1/18 scale sci-fi, I don't know what you call it, room, where's the dude? Room corridor thingamabobber. There's a 1/18 dude. And I can't really join the walls in the center here like I would if it was 1 inch, because it's too thin for the magnets. But I think it looks, the thickness looks more reasonable in 1/18 scale than the big honkin' 1 inch. But you know, everything's a trade-off. This does look pretty cool. I need to get to where I'm modeling this kind of stuff in 3D, because I think this would work in 3D. The details could be pretty sharp in 3D. You might not get the same smoothness over everything, but some things would look even, you know, I could do, well, I don't know, that's pretty good looking. Actually, that is 3D printed, the keyboard. 1 inch is a great base. It is, Troy, for sure. $43. Yeah, $43 is steep. Troy, I want to say my 2 inch is, it's close to that. It's very close to that. It might even be more than that. I thought it was twice the price. So that'd be crazy, but I thought it was closer to 50. But 2 inch foam lasts me forever because I don't use it that often. Like I said, crates, tree trunks, chunky rocks. Like this guy, my old favorite rock. You know, it's just 2 inch foam, chop it up. Now you could take 1 inch pieces, you can glue them together and, you know, make a blob and then carve into it once it sets, and that works just fine. The glue sometimes is a little harder to carve, but it works. It could be for Star Wars, but it's not specifically. Jay Gonzo, what's going on, Jay Gonzo? Let me see something. Gonzo, I actually sent you a picture on Instagram because after we spoke about it that day on the last stream, I was playing around and made this in Fusion. It's probably not the final one, but I was so happy with the way it came out for a first attempt. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So. Stacking 1 inch gives a good rock column. Yeah, like on a bamboo skewer, absolutely. Yeah, Jay, no, you're cool, man. The less time you spend on social media, probably the better off you are. It's funny coming from me, but got to be in moderation. Dr. Peppers. Eduardo's got Dr. Peppers. I actually have a Coca-Cola in the closet over there. Not yet, Gonzo. I'm working on several projects at once. I started to, but yeah, I got other stuff that's going ahead of it right now. I was showing earlier. After I did this, and I realized how to do these, like, you know, rounded lathe-like objects. I did this banister for the top of the ship deck dio I've been doing, that's on Instagram and Facebook. And I also started working on a dinghy that's it's a work in progress. Also, I will mention one more time, or well, probably more than once, I don't want to be a liar. The version 2 of the Helidope crates, for anyone that wanted to snag them, are up on my Etsy right now. The link is in the chat, pinned at the top. These laser cut wooden crates. Probably going to be doing some more, a different style, but something similar coming up soon. Yeah, these were cool. These days, I am pretty heavy on Aleene's Turbo Tacky Glue. Although I have been known to use hot glue, and I do need super glue for lots of stuff as well. But for foam and for wood, it's mostly that stuff right there. I also use Mod Podge. which people like to tell me I shouldn't be using it for it, but I use it for flock all the time because it's thinner and it is easier to work with a paintbrush if you want to like just move it around really easily. Turbo for the win, yeah. Now the one thing about posting more on Facebook is I do get some like borderline trollish comments. I mean, you always get trolls, but I've had a couple, more than a couple, that are funny. I think one guy told me, I don't know, I didn't even listen to the video. Maybe I said a 4x8 sheet of foam, and he's like, it's an 8x4 sheet. You know, and I can't tell which ones are, well, sometimes I can tell, but I can't always tell which ones are purposely being trolling and which ones are just people that are just can't help themselves from saying stuff. There was a few videos where I was dry brushing stuff, but the brush was pretty wet, right? But it's still like a dry brush technique because you're smearing it across the top layer and trying to get the recesses to stay dark. I understand the brush was wet, but I think I said I'm going to dry brush these. And I had like a chain of people agreeing with each other how that wasn't dry brushing. And I'm like, what do you want me to call it? The motion of dry brushing with a wetter brush? But I just said, what did I say? A very wet dry brush is what it is, you know. It's all engagement. None of it bothers me. It's just kind of amazing to spend the time on stuff like that. I guess I used to. I used to comment like that maybe a long time ago sometimes. No, not. It was rare. Glue and I don't get along. I suspect it's a skill issue on my part. I doubt it's skill so much as patience would be my guess. Dropping in to say, have a good stream. I'll be catching the replay. Don't forget to like. Thank you, Famine. Thanks for coming by, man. I feel like this is a lot of people kind of like pop in and then fall asleep because it's freaking late, which is completely understandable. Since we're painting stuff brown, I might as well paint these crates right here. So, tardigrade, I remember when I was trying to like get stuff to paint well, and I couldn't understand why everything looked like crap, and it was because I was just too impatient to let paint dry, number one, and number two, I never wanted to do multiple coats. I wanted it to look good on the first coat, and it just never looked good, and it couldn't dawn on my impatient mind that just put another coat of the same color on, and it all of a sudden looks amazing. So I would just say most of this stuff is usually a patience issue, because it's not rocket science, right? The computer stuff, that's another situation. That's just convoluted aggravation of trying to deal with a program. But most of the crafty stuff, it's dry times and what works with what. Damn, it's on the East Coast. It's late. Yeah, it's an hour later. So it's 1 o'clock there right now. A lava addition to my room diorama. I'm assuming you mean addition and not an audition, because I don't know why you would be auditioning to be lava. That's pretty neat. A lava addition. Yeah, lava's cool. I've only done a little bit of lava. I'd like to do some kind of something like that one day. I painted it by hand, and the stuff people do with airbrush just looks phenomenal. Do you keep trinkets, found objects to use in dioramas, make it all from scratch? Both. I lean heavily on making things from scratch, or designing it and then 3D printing it has become a big thing for me, as well as the laser cutter for cutting little bits and parts out of wood. But I have some stuff that's found, you know, bottle tops I keep sometimes, and just if I see an interesting object. I definitely do some trash bashing occasionally. I used to do more of it. I lean pretty heavily on, if I need an item, I can just model it and then 3D print it. Or, you know, lay it out and then cut it out with a laser cutter. But you don't need to. It's just a natural progression for me as I got those tools. I will say, for very, very small and circular items especially, the laser cutter is amazing because it's very difficult to cut very small circles. You could use a punch up to a point, depending on the material. One in a millennium. Okay, Eduardo. 95% kit bash, trash bash. Yeah, Troy. I mean, that works really, really well, honestly. Trash bashing is amazing. As you start walking around, you just start seeing parts in everything. And you can feel kind of nice about actually recycling something. I mean, you're 100% repurposing something without any kind of anything being spent to do that. You know, nothing. My screen went blank for a minute. All right, I gotta learn how to. I don't know how to do this. I gotta learn how to tone down OBS, because OBS is like fire hosing YouTube. YouTube wants me to be kicking them about 2,500 kbps, and OBS is kicking them 6,300 kbps, and it's not happy. I really have no idea how to lower that, though. I'll have to... I meant to do that a few weeks ago, but alas, I did not. Yeah, it's either you have to stop and look for stuff, or you have, like, your basement is just an absolute... You know, you have a room that's an absolute hoarder's fiasco. And like I said, the 3D printer and the laser cutter has taken care of that for me. But also, you know, most of the time, so many of the things I've used are just simple shapes, like just little circles, little squares. It goes a long way. You can really do a lot with foam if you try to. Like, pretty much anything. The biggest limitation I have with foam, I mean, aside from physical structural limitations, is when it gets really small, like for a button, it won't hold the shape. It's just too flimsy. The force needed to cut it usually deforms it. So for really tiny bits, that's why I like wood for that. Wife and kids helped me find my obtainium. Yeah. Well, also, I mean, I'm sure a large amount of your stuff comes from prepackaged foods and food containers that you guys eat all the time. And what was that? It was like the Klondike bar vanilla milkshake kind of thing. It came in a pouch and it had that blue top. It looked just like some kind of space hovercraft engine. And I had a bag of those set aside to use, and I saw someone else use it for the same thing, basically, I was thinking, because it just looked so perfect for that. Whoops. Vacuum parts, sewing machines, printer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you dig apart, like, electronics, too, there's a lot there. I never really did that too much. I know lots of people are into, like, the circuit boards and fans and stuff. Fans will look pretty cool, though. Yogurt? Repurposes I'm most proud of is using a gum wrapper to make the most perfect 164 laptop keyboard. A gum wrapper. A gum wrapper? Are you talking about like the foil from Wrigley's? Like that almost diamond pattern crosshatch? I can't remember exactly what it looks like. Black. Where's the black? The foil, yeah, okay. It had to be that. I was like, what else would it be? Kid squeeze pouches, yeah, I could see that. Like on here, hold on this 1/18th one, all the major shapes are foam, 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 foam. All the little buttons and these frames are wood, basically laser cut popsicle sticks. That's 3D printed. This right here is Trash Bash. So that is a pull-off thing from a Epson toner or a ink cartridge. Those orange things that stick on the bottom, and I love those things. I've used them a few times. So even though I mostly do from scratch, it's pretty normal to find like one or two found bits in the stuff I do. Now, if I'm trying to make it over and over and over again to sell it, obviously I'm gonna go with stuff I can manufacture or craft in-house. Good night, Ian. Yeah, that worked out really well. The little arrow on it is what sold me. So I never talk about this too much, and a lot of you guys are here now. I'm not saying I'm going to do anything, but if I was going to do anything, do you guys have any ideas for anything that you would like to see maybe for channel members? 'Cause I haven't really done much for you guys recently. Well, okay. When you bought something, I did give you guys extra stuff. That's true. And I appreciate y'all supporting, for sure. I was trying to think what I could do. I guess I could redo some of the icons or emojis that I've talked about for redoing for the last year and a half or whatever. Updated emojis, yeah. Yeah. Biannual surprise care package. Maybe. I don't know. It's difficult, man. Shipping is crazy. Not everyone's in the States. It gets upside down pretty quick, Fat Red. And I hate shipping stuff, to be quite honest. I'll do it. I'll do it, but so far I've been liking using Etsy and eBay mainly because the shipping is dealt with through them largely. Like, that's something I like about doing that process almost more than anything. What was I about to grab? Oh, yes. I mean, there might be able to be some kind of swag or something like that. I don't know. Special content, maybe? Question and answer content with demos. Huh. That's an interesting one, Ed. You mean basically I do a Q&A during the stream, or you're saying like I put out a poll somewhere for, or you know, a Q&A thing, people send me the questions and then I make a video and it's members only kind of thing. I guess there's different ways you could do it. I suppose a like a Punk's Pit style stream for channel members might be cool, but there's so few, you know, we're just a very small group, and trying to get, I feel like most of those, I mean, I won't know till I try it, but I think it would usually be like me, Ed, and Fat Red. We'd have to figure out a time. People are so used to this time. This is, you know, an oddball time. Question and answer content. I do like that, though. That's a good idea. Ugh. There's black paint on that brush, dude. Dirt. Demoed 1 or 2 concepts a month. You know, I've been thinking about doing some 3D content, and that might be actually cool. Like a 3D modeling session or something for members only. Since most of what I do is shorts, you know, it's not, you're right, it's not super in depth. I do go through the process, but a lot of the times I'm doing more basic or maybe intermediate kind of parts of the process because, you know, I want it to have a broad appeal. I don't usually go down into granular detail with something that was like difficult or giving me a problem. That, and I feel like doing stuff with my hands and the painting and stuff just is more visually appealing than tooling around in a 3D program. But there's an audience for it, I'm sure. It's specific, more niche. Fat Red, have you ever had your have you ran your laser cutter yet? Well, while we're here waiting on stuff to dry, it seems like a good time to finish this crate from the other week. I have not. Yeah, it's a bit daunting, honestly. Even with the enclosed one I have, because I'm in a one-bedroom, I'm in an apartment. It took me a while to get it to where it wasn't like turning my apartment into a smoker. .3D print stuff, foam wire cutter tutorial, paint techniques, lots of stuff you do that can be drilled into for members only content. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I think the thing that's the most behind the scenes right now is the 3D print, the laser cut, that kind of stuff. I don't show any of that. Most everything else is shown in bits and pieces, at least. But if you watch the live stream, I mean, I've gone through most things. It would be cool to do something where I have a bigger setup and working on a larger piece, where I have the camera set back from a table. It's just difficult for me to do that due to living situation. How to not cut yourself being crazy with a blade. I don't know how that works, Ed. It just seems to. Random dioramas in South America can become true. Tomorrow never knows. You never know. It's true. cuts are just part of the hobby. Pretty much. I've been pretty lucky with cuts. Now, the one thing that I need to get better at is ventilation. I definitely, especially because I moved the hot wire in here for the stream and having everything in close proximity. I have a little air filter, but I feel like I need, if you do it once in a while, it's not that big of a deal. But if you're cutting foam all the time, you should have ventilation and a mask ideally. If you're outside or your open garage or something like that, I don't think it's that big of a deal unless you're letting the smoke hit you in the face. Which, if you've ever done that, something doesn't feel right about that, right? It makes that weird feeling in your mouth and throat. It's clearly not good. Most smoke has, some kind of effect like that too, but something about that foam smoke, it's like, that ain't great. Ideally, if I ever get a workshop set up, I will have, forced air ventilation right there pulling the smoke off of the dang thing. I've gotten cut unboxing a toy. That can happen, man. Those blister packs are vicious sometimes. I mean, unless you're talking about your knife, but that can happen too. I cut the tip of my finger when I was maybe 22, opening a package of bread with a box cutter. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I wasn't thinking at all. I was just holding it like this. I just took the cutter and went whoosh, and took the tip of my finger. It wasn't like totally off, but it was, flapping around. But at that time, I was working in a grocery store, and the meat dude super glued it together. There's not even a scar, which was not something I knew about prior to that, but apparently super glue works pretty darn good sometimes for cuts. I feel like it shouldn't be in your body, but I don't know. Seems like people use it for that. That was my only encounter with that happening, but it worked. Packaging is dangerous. It certainly can be. Super glue was first designed as a 4 infield used to close up wounds where stitches and proper care was not available. I didn't know it was first designed for that, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere it was used in like heart surgery or something, so it seems like it should be horribly toxic for you, but I guess it becomes so hard that your body probably can't absorb it anyway. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. But like I said, man, there was no scar, no nothing. It's wild. Hitting the hay, guys. Take it easy. Later, Trip D. Thanks for hanging out. And thank you for being a channel member and supporting Trip D. I appreciate that, man. I really do. All right, Eduardo. You have a good night. Good luck with your complicated divorce and the farm. I imagine anytime you're splitting a large asset like that that is not really designed to be split, it's got to be quite complicated. I couldn't remember which color it was that I liked dry brushed on the red before, and it was this. Just the same golden brown I did this in. It actually, I like the way that looks. It's like the red paint is peeling off from weathering, and the wood is starting to show through it. Set these over here. What else? Looks faded, yeah. So Ed, something I'm trying, and I don't know how many of you guys do replay. Probably anyone who's sitting here through the whole thing, I'm sure you're not watching the replay. But I am taking the ads off my live streams on replay. YouTube's ad generation has gotten crazy, where they just try to add an ad in every 2 seconds. There's, I mean, literally the timeline for a 3-hour will have 50 ad slots put in it. And when I do them manually, I'll put one ad slot every 30 minutes. You know, it doesn't always, it doesn't mean you get an ad every 30 minutes. It just means that there's a chance that you get served an ad, unless you have, the paid for YouTube. But that, I keep forgetting to go back in and edit it, because you can't do it immediately. As soon as I publish the video, it's got to be like a certain amount of time for it to render to high definition or something like that. So it's like 24 hours before I can update the ads, and I just feel like anyone new going to watch one of those streams on rerun, I can't stand all the ads. Yeah, it's completely ridiculous, Fat Red. So I have to go in there and I gotta edit it out, and sometimes I remember to, and sometimes I don't, and then I'll go back in and edit them all down. And you know, if I'm watching something and it has an ad break every 30 minutes or so, I'm okay with that. I mean, no ads is better, but an ad every like 5 minutes or 3 minutes is just insane. But all the money's come over here. I don't know how much it's captured, but I imagine social media has captured at least half, if not maybe 2/3 of previous advertising dollars that went to television back in the day. I mean, I'm not making much. I made a couple of dollars. I'd have to look, but it's probably less than $10 a month off the ads from my live streams. You know, there's more money comes from channel memberships, and the more money comes from the super chats, which are very sporadic, obviously. Thank you for everyone that super chats or has super chatted. But more money comes from that by far than ad revenue from the stream. It's like basically nothing. So I need to just take those off and make it more welcoming for new people to at least put it on in the background. Because most of the time, this type of stream, you're going to throw it on in the background. You want to maybe work on something else and just have it going. And to have an ad pop up every freaking 2 minutes is buzzkill. Like and subscribe. There you go. Thank you, Troy. Look at Troy. Member for 21 months. That is wild. And thank you, Troy, for leaving me that nice review on Etsy as well. Especially with the picture. I always like seeing those. Troy with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Troy. You've just supplemented my lost ad income for this month, probably. It's for snacks. I have 2 pieces of cornbread stashed in my closet. I'm probably going to eat that as soon as this stream is over. But I always need to re-up on snacks, so that's no joke. Panels are going in my Hoth Invader throne room diorama. Okay, cool. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that when you have it together, man. How are the colors working out on that for you, Troy? Or it's easily paintable enough if you have to edit it a little bit? I know you painted some of them. Alrighty guys, well everything is kind of in various stages of drying right now. Don't have any black wash mixed up, but I should do a little wash on this, or at least some maybe dark brown wash would look cool. I think I am going to leave this unpainted. I think this color works just fine. Now, part of me would really like to do like a really ornate one, you know, with like black and gold and make it look all crazy. Or the banister would look cool red. But if I did that, printed it red, it wouldn't match this red, and maybe it would look alright. I don't know. But I'm probably going to just keep that as is. I do need to make like a single one to put over here, because I just feel like... And this really does need a railing, but I'm probably not going to make a railing. We're just going to suspend disbelief on that. I didn't... Yeah, we're probably not going to do that. This is just, you want to make sure you're not walking up those stairs in rough seas. That's all I'm going to say. Brown wash for the poop deck. There you go. Now, I'm pretty sure poop deck is actually up here. not down here. But I'm not positive. After too much rum? Yeah. Oh, I know what I could do real quick. Before I get off here, let me do this. I was wanting to do it anyway. Okay, that is freaking cool, man. Just enough recess for the black to... That's freaking cool, man. Wow. I can paint all the individual stones, like pick some out here and there, give them a different color. Looks salt stained. Yeah, that's the you know, artifacts from 3D printing. What do I need? I need maybe terracotta. Oh, the deck looks salt stained. Okay. So, well, obviously this is the wrong scale for 1/12. I mean, I guess this is almost for 1/18th, but it's really, I think the stone would look better small, even smaller than 1/18th. It would be extremely difficult to cut that pattern out by hand in this scale. Larger, it would be doable, but that is a crazy pattern right there. Yeah, looks good. Good night, Largo. We're wrapping up right now anyway, man. All right, so it is 1:02 a.m. here in Texas. We did some painting, a little bit of crate work, talked about some 3D experiments. Special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys supporting. Please, let me go to sleep. Please let me go to sleep. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for everyone that's not a channel member as well. Or the lurkers or anyone, and especially everyone that's been purchasing stuff off my Etsy. The link is in the bio. If there's something that you're interested in or you kind of would like me to make and you mention it, I might make it in 2 or 3 years or next week. There's no plan here. Take care, guys. I hope everyone has a great weekend and a great week, and I hope to see you next week. Take care.